Welcome back to Built to Ship, the podcast where we go behind the scenes with founders and product leaders shipping real AI products into the world. I'm your host, Tyler Postal from Voker, and today I'm excited to be joined by Hrachik, the founder of Pearch AI, an AI-native people search and candidate sourcing API that lets platforms and tools find highly relevant talent using natural language queries. It's great to have you.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. Well, why don't we start with your background? What were you doing before Perch, and how'd you get the idea?
Yeah, I'm an entrepreneur my whole life. I started my first company when I was 16. I'm 40
Wow.
now, so it's been like a lot more years of building things than not building. Yeah, most of my life I've been building social products. Built a couple of social networking apps with tens of millions of users. And then during the COVID, I thought that, conferences went online, and I thought, what if we could use some of our B2C knowledge for this B2B world to help, people interact during online conferences, built a product for that. And then at some moment, I realized that there's something fundamental that I've been getting to my whole life, which is solving the problem of people search. Like all the social networking apps that I've built are not social media the way they're built, where you just consume content and ads. I've been building tools where people interact and talk and meet each other, and I thought, what if we could build a foundational people search technology that would help anyone share whatever kind of person they have on their mind and find the most relevant people out of 8 billion people out there. And we started building this thing, which is called Pearch, which stands for People Search.
Amazing. Yeah, I think it's, there's all sorts of AI startups, popping up everywhere. But I think one of the less maybe exciting or like news flashy things are like these background tools that are actually the important part to make the models work well. It doesn't matter how good the model is, how intelligent it is, if it doesn't have good data that it can pull from or good tools that it can use. So it feels like you're kind of building some of the infrastructure for AI systems.
That is correct. Yes.
Awesome. Well, tell us a bit about like who is the ideal customer of Perch? How do they use your API? Is it all sorts of use cases? It's specifically for, hiring candidates. Yeah, tell us more.
Yeah, currently we are very much focused on one vertical, which is HR tech tools that want to add candidate sourcing as core part of their products. We've seen that in this market, the end customers, like recruiters and enterprises, they want all-in-one solutions. They don't want to have 20 different tools for HR. They want to have one thing that would cover all of their needs. And that requires the builders to build everything simultaneously, like 20 different products, right? That's how you sell. The problem with that is that how do you build a good product if you cannot focus on one thing, right? And sourcing technologically is the hardest part of this pipeline. So building high quality candidate sourcing is something that no one has been able to achieve before, right? And we haven't. I mean, our sourcing tool, our search relevance currently outperforms every other people search technology in the world. But it's still very, very far from perfect, So we decided, all right, we'll only focus on this. We will not sell this solution to end customers, to recruiters. We'll only partner with those who are building great AI-first tools and help them add this puzzle piece to their products so that together we deliver more value to end customers.
That's great. I love that level of focus. And, you mentioned earlier, like, it's hard to build a product, especially if you're not, staying focused on something specific. And it's easy to just think, oh, well, we could go sell this directly to, an HR manager or, X, Y, and Z. And I think in our founding journey of building Voker, we've experienced the same thing where sometimes, hey, this could be applicable to this team. But then, you have to start making decisions of which features do you want to prioritize, et cetera. So it sounds like you're really focused on these AI native HR technologies? Any that you could name that you think are, disrupting the way that sourcing and talent acquisition is happening today that you guys are powering their search for?
It definitely feels that way. Yeah, we get a lot of incoming interest. We selling this is extremely easy. We're almost break even now. We started selling this less than 6 months ago.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, so feels like, yeah, we found a real problem. And you're from YC too, right? So I'm a YC alum.
Mm-hmm.
I'm an OG though. I've been in YC Winter 16, which was like
Amazing.
10 years ago.
I've heard a lot's changed, but a lot's
Oh
still
yeah.
the same. So it's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. I can see the changes. I go to alumni demo day sometimes, and I see
Nice.
how different the startups are nowadays. How they present everything is different, but still, I mean, it's still YC. Anyway, YC teaches you this one thing: to focus on something meaningful, talk to customers, and deliver better products. And that focus definitely worked for us. Yeah.
Amazing. So tell me a bit more about like the architecture of, the API search. Where are the AI features within the search? Or is it mostly programmatic and traditional software and it's just powering other AI tools?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a new type of people search engine. Most of the people search engines that like that exist out there are filter-based searches or keyword-based searches, right? Some of them go beyond that. They do Elasticsearch or some vector embeddings on top. We have tested all of the current approaches out there. None of them deliver high-quality results. We have published a paper on benchmarking people search tools, so to help
Nice.
the market understand where things are, and it's terribly bad. That's where the market is, and our search is AI native. It works with natural language. It delivers higher quality candidates because basically it focuses on the meaning of what kind of person you're trying to find, not just some filters and keywords. And to build that, like the hardest part of it is the first step of retrieval. We have 800 million candidates in our database, right?
Wow.
How do you select a top 1,000 out of 800 million to rank them and evaluate them with large language models better, right? That is the hard thing. Like if you only have 1,000 candidates, it's pretty easy to do it with ChatGPT. But how do you select the right 1,000? And that is the problem that no one has solved before. And we do it in a pretty good way. It's a Frankenstein, honestly, in terms of AI agents that do the work. There's one brain that gives tasks to a bunch of AI agents. They do a lot of work. It would evaluate its work during the search. If it's not happy with the outcome, it's gonna go back, come up with new strategies of search, and things like that. So the whole process is agentic, and it's autonomous in the way that it's doing some of the human work to later stages of pipeline. It's evaluating, giving comments, going back, creating new types of search queries, and so on to find the right people.
That's awesome. How'd you land on that like architecture of having one sort of master brain that like delegated? Did you just like say this might work and let's try it, or were you trying a different kind of setup in an architecture and it wasn't working and you had to try something else?
Yeah, we first started testing all currently existing approaches. We started with basic things like Elasticsearch, just some semantic search with vector embeddings of different types. Then we realized that our benchmarking and scientific work helped a lot. We found a bunch of queries where some types of searches perform well, and then for some other searches, other types of searches perform well, and for some other cases, you might want to build some more complex thing of different approaches. And we realized that none of the simple solutions work well, right? So we started building all together, and then just making it more complex from day to day. We're now public. We delivered over 10 million candidates to our partners, and
Wow.
we get a lot of feedback, right? A lot of signals, and we can teach our systems based on the knowledge that's being collected on that. So yeah,
That's,
it's been a
that's
journey.
great.
It was not. It's been 2.5 years of research, and we started selling it 6 months ago. So like we
Well,
spent a lot.
congratulations on getting,
Yeah,
yeah, congrats on getting to that point of like, it takes a long time to develop a new, it's not like you're just taking some framework or method that existed before. It sounds like you're inventing a new approach to this. So, yeah, that's
yeah.
really
We
exciting.
had to.
You've gotten,
We just
yeah.
had to.
What,
We
when
didn't
it
want
comes to
to.
that,
We had to.
yeah, when it comes to that feedback that you're getting, like from your customers, what's the form of that feedback? Is it programmatic? Is it like a thumbs up, thumbs down? Is it rejecting candidates, or is it like they're messaging you on Slack and telling you, I don't like these candidates? And how do you
We have
incorporate
all
that
of
back?
those. We have
Okay.
all of those. But eventually what we've built is that we have a model that the way it evaluates candidates is very close to how our partners do. So basically we've learned to predict how would people evaluate the candidates. And when we deliver results, we already know that we fucked up. We so we have all the signals, and then we can. So basically, we give this access to our API. Our partners run thousands of searches, and we take those queries where we deliver the worst results, and we know that the results were not good because the internal evaluation AI that we have is good enough. It's correlated with how people think. And we just build batches of new queries where we fuck up, and come up with new solutions on how to make it better and better every day. And that is part of the philosophy of this product. So our partners implement the search inside their products, right? And then their sourcing component of their product is becoming better every day because that's the only thing we do.
Mm-hmm. So when it comes to that feedback where you're saying like, okay, this isn't working, we know your internal agent evaluated it and said it's not going to correlate with like what humans expect or what these recruiters expect. How do you actually tweak the system? Is it changing prompts? Is it adding new agents? Is it fine tuning models? What does
Oh,
that
it's
actually look
custom
like?
every time. Yeah, sometimes it has to do something with the data we collect. So there are some. There's this. There are a few searches I love personally that we've been researching deeply. One was find me engineers that joined Stripe before Series B. This is a
Mm,
search that we have tested on all of the existing people search tools. None of them deliver. Uh, Actually, people who joined before Series B, they all deliver Stripe engineers who work for Stripe now.
mm,
That sounds simple. The need is obvious for that kind of search, but none of the existing search tools can do that. That is crazy. And to make that specific case work, we had to do a lot of internal job, right? And we've teach the agent to go Google when was the Stripe Series B, right? Then
mhm.
implement that, create a SQL query, and then evaluate with large language models and like a bunch of things for that specific case. And we have hundreds of complex cases like that. Another one would be I need a bodyguard with a great sense of humor. How do you
Wow.
do that? We
Yeah.
are delivering really good candidates for that as well now. Can
Amazing.
you imagine? Like it's becoming possible.
Well,
Yeah,
that's really impressive. The complexity and the diversity of like the questions you could get. And it sounds like that is the reason why like you said, you didn't want to have to develop it, but why you had to develop this new approach with, agents, which can probably take a lot more of multi-step questions, like first go look up Stripe and then do this,
yeah,
and can take, probably even the sense of humor. Like an LLM, will be a lot better at searching for through someone's profile and seeing if they're kind of funny versus if you just like had a filter that checks that box. Most people didn't
yeah.
put that
If
on their
you
resume.
kind of absolutely, if you do a keyword-based search with like the words sense of humor or
Hmm.
something, like you're gonna get some random profiles. Like there are thousands of reasons why you would have those words in your profile. It has nothing to do with that, right? We actually need a human being with a great sense of humor, which is a totally different thing. Yeah, and it becomes possible with this technology now.
So you've designed like this flexible and complex system with multiple agents. how do you manage all these agents together? Like, do you have any frameworks that you like? Do you use like an agent kit SDK, or have you just developed the orchestration, in-house?
Yeah, we've developed the whole thing in-house.
So the
Yeah.
core is, direct calls to what, like OpenAI and those kind of LM providers or open source models, and then you handle the orchestration and the harnessing of, this multi-agent
Yeah,
system.
yeah, it's like honestly the hardest part, like 80% of our work is the initial steps of the search pipeline, the retrieval, of a thousand people out of hundreds of millions. That's where OpenAI doesn't really help a lot, right? That's where the main problem is, and that's where our most of the know-hows are. But for external large language providers, we use all of them. During the pipeline, for different parts of the pipeline, we've seen different models perform better. We've been evaluating them for different types of challenges. And yeah, I think we're using both OpenAI's models, few of them, and Anthropic and Claude and DeepSeek and others. If I ask our tech team, I'm sure they'll mention a few more that I don't know about.
Amazing. Well, this has been, really interesting conversation, and appreciate you sharing like all these experiences and details about how you guys have built this system. Last thing I want to ask before we wrap up is like, how are you keeping track of these systems in production? This is a question we ask pretty often on the pod. Finally, companies, have gotten agents into production, especially these big companies that have been claiming that they're, shipping some AI feature. We're really only seeing them get to production now. And now people are realizing, wait, there's gaps in tooling. We hear a lot about evals. We hear about how do you monitor your system. So I'm curious how you guys keep track of, how well it's performing in production, and how you get insights about how your customers are using your API.
Yeah, I'm not sure if we use a lot of tools there. We've built some monitoring software on our own that would send Slack messages. If we don't respond, it's gonna text us and then call phone numbers of team members, starting from engineers and up to the next layers. Yeah, I don't have much on this because it's mostly the tech team, and my co-founder is the one who's the CTO of this company and who knows a lot more about it. So yeah, I know we have monitoring systems. I know we've been building most of them on our own, but don't have much detail about that.
That's okay. And I know you mentioned earlier that you guys use, the feedback directly from customers. You also get, information around like, did people accept the candidates, or did they, something about that I think you're mentioning earlier. So it seems like those kind of things are where people are starting right now. And as the industry continues to evolve, we'll probably see more like standards of, that are created when it comes to monitoring and evaluating in production. And maybe the last thing on that note is, you did mention you have this like evaluator agent, right? That kind of
Yeah.
checks how well this correlates to a human. Maybe you could share a little bit about that. To me, that sounds a little bit like a way that you're monitoring the quality of, the output of these agentic systems.
Yeah. So this thing was created during our initial, research work, where we were trying to understand before we started building this thing, we wanted to understand how do all of the existing tools perform, right? People say LinkedIn search is not very good. What is not very good? How do you, for a large language model world, you have all these arenas and benchmarks. For people search, there is nothing like that. It's not transparent at all. So we've built this benchmarking methodology first, right? And we've benchmarked all of the existing people search tools. And we've been, to make sure we can trust it, we've built it on double blind testing on actual recruiters who would vote for search results of different search engines without knowing which search engine found this candidate, right?
I love that. It's very rigorous.
So we've collected a lot of data like that. Based on that, we created the ratings of all the existing search engines, learned that some are awful, some are even worse. There is nothing good on the market. And then we've built this model that is very high, like on a high level, is very much correlated to the results of how people vote. So now we know that we can trust that thing, and it saves us a lot of time on iterations, because now we don't have to spend time and money on collecting human feedback on every step.
That's great. Yeah, you guys put in a lot of work up front to kind of build the framework to evaluate, and now you can leverage that to make sure your product's ahead. And so that's great. Well, I know we're close to time. I want to put your website up on the screen and let you share with the audience, who should check out Perch, and how can they follow along and get in touch?
Yeah, it's pretty simple. If you need an API for people search, then you might want to check this out. We're mostly focused on HR tech tools, but we see people from other industries using this, like people who need to find ideal customer profiles for sales would do this, right? You can basically describe the ideal customer and find the exact person. And we also deliver phone numbers and emails of people on top of that, so that you can directly reach out to them. So yeah, it's pretty simple. It's one product, one API docs, and it's all public. So yeah, let us know.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Love it. So yeah, folks, go to perch.ai and you can just check out the docs and explore the API. Sounds like it's kind of a self-serve situation where they can kind of get started quickly. Amazing. Well, thanks again for sharing, your journey building Perch, the multiple years you guys have invested in developing the benchmarking and, the agent framework behind the scenes. Really enjoyed our conversation, and hopefully we'll chat again soon. Thanks for listening to Built to Ship. If you're building something, go ship it. See you next time. Bye now.
Thank you.